I'm from SpeedTrader. Okay, I have been there for a little over a year. I report directly to Craig Vanderson, our CEO. He says hello to all of you. He didn't want to leave Utica, New York in the rain to come down to Dallas in more rain, so he's back there. So listen, you guys probably get a lot of brokers that are going to stand in front of you and they're going to tell you that they're the best. And I don't think that I'm going to do that today. I think what I'm going to do today is tell you about how we're different. I think that that's fair, right? And then one of the things that I think is funny about different, you ever notice when you're talking to somebody, you're meeting them for the first time, your brain kind of throws them in one or two categories? Like, oh, I have something in common with this person, or oh wow, they're different, right? Like, oh, that's different, that's kind of cool. Where'd he go? Antonio sold the website, sold the restaurant. I always wanted to own a restaurant. That's pretty cool. That's different, right? We were joking last night, I'm standing next to the guy that does CrossFit, I'm eating a plate of cheese, right? You're different. I want to see everybody be successful, but I want to see you be successful a little bit more because I have two daughters. And I think that there should be more women traders. So that's a little different. That's kind of neat. Welcome, right? So SpeedTrader is different. Different in a good way. So I want to give you a swabot right now, right by the end of my little talk. I feel like you should be able to explain direct market access. Just explain, right? I feel like I'd like for you to understand what our commission structure is and how you can use it to your advantage and how it's not a detriment to you, like some other plans that are out there are. I'd like for you to identify the 3 locate services that we have across 2 platforms and how you can use them to your advantage. I like to see people make money on both sides of the market, and if you do short, you're going to find a lot of value in those short services, right? And last, just be able to note the differences between the 2 platforms that we have. One platform with their routes is specifically designed to enable you to capture much, much more, and I'll get to that in a moment, right? So the first thing I want to talk about is direct market access, right? So traditionally, it was like a 3-tier system. So you put an order into your broker, the broker then gives the order to the market maker, and the market maker then puts it on the book of the exchange, and it gets filled. Confirmation comes from the broker, right? So you got 3 people touching. It's a middleman. I was talking last night, I like to try to do the things around my house, right? I love to do it. I change the oil in my car. But I know that every time I change the oil in my car, I'm paying a markup on that filter. And the reason is because I got to buy it from AutoZone, right? So AutoZone, I can't buy it directly from Fram. They're not going to sell me just one filter. Believe me, I tried, they hung up, right? They stopped taking my calls. So I got to pay the markup there. So what we do is we move you around the market maker through the routes, and we put you directly on the order book of the exchange. So what that does, what that gives you is the opportunity to capture a better fill for your order because you're cutting the middleman out, right? So we have some firms out there that are, commission free, right? Like 0 cost, commission free. Okay.
There's a cost.
So how do you think they're making their money?
Right.
They're making their money off of your fills, right? So what we do is that we pass that along to you. Direct market access. Let's pretend that we're gonna open a bar, right? And we've got 2 vendors for Miller Lite beer, right? 2 vendors. And one vendor is cheaper than the other one. So who would we obviously go to? We would go to the cheaper guy. And we would think we were getting a great deal. We're saving so much money. And we're gonna be able to renovate upstairs, and maybe we can call and bribe the people from Zagat to come by and rate our bar, right? Okay. What are you gonna do when somebody picks up that beer and says, "This tastes funny." You ever been down the street? It tastes funny, right? Orders, fills that come from free guys, they taste funny, right? They taste funny. So I'd like for you to keep that in mind. Direct market access, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. So in line with pricing, I like to think that our commissions are pretty low. $4.49 a trade, 44 mils a share, okay? If you go with ETC, I believe it's 40 mils a share, okay? Again, there's guys out there, I don't know, everybody's always got a promo, right? So like there's people out there that are, you know, like rock bottom, you have the free guys, then you have the people where you're like, what are they, where are you coming up with this stuff? That's ridiculous, you know what I mean? Like that's a lot of money. Our options contracts are 40 cents each. So it's not trade plus, it's 40 cents each. So like I know there's another brokerage, and I'm not going to mention them, but their background is in green, right? And they seem to care more about managing your money than they do about effectuating your trades in the market. They're $6.95 plus 75 cents or whatever. We're at 40 cents, okay? So the value that we bring through the low commissions is something that you can use in your arsenal when you're going out there and you're getting it done, right? So commissions are pretty low. Locates, right? Making money on both sides of the market. So we have three locate services across two clearing firms. So we offer the opportunity to clear through Core. We offer you the opportunity to clear through ETC. So the two that you have for ETC are Quantex and Velocity. Velocity is built right into the platform. So, you know, you put your short in and it goes right there, okay? Quantex and Corelli, which is on the Core side, is a little different. So it's web-based. Here's what happens. When I tell people keep a window open and logged in, it logs you in all day, right? It's great. You log in, you open up the page, and it literally asks you ticker, shares, okay? And that's it. Put in the ticker, put in how many shares you want, and it'll spit out a price, okay? So what that gives you is the opportunity to say, okay, is this going to be worth my while? It'll also tell you if it's hard to borrow, okay? The fee for the locate services for both Quantex and Core, same thing. Well, Quantex and Corelli, I should say. You know, they vary, but there's a one-time fee for the short. In the beginning, everybody knows that. And then if it's hard to borrow, there could be an additional fee, right? So does anybody know, has anybody done like a hard to borrow stock before? Does anybody, you have? Yeah. Okay.
So hard to borrow would be like if you wanted to short AWX.
Right.
It goes from 1 to 20. It's really a penny stock, even though it's at 20. Ameritrade's not going to let you short it. E-Trade's not going to let you short it. Interactive brokers possibly may let you short it. There's like 3 or 4 places you can find the borrows. Because the float's small. You know, if the float is 2 million shares or, you know, whatever, like, well, how many, you know, how are you going to get the shares to borrow, right? There's only 2 million shares in the float. Like that ABIL that we were looking at, you know, showing you the charts, the float on that is 900,000 shares, right? So you're not going to be able to short that at regular brokers. And the other thing is like, even a stock like Tesla, you can't, they won't let you short it half the time at Ameritrade.
No.
They don't let you really short very many things.
Well, it reminds me of a friend of mine. Whenever you hear hard to borrow, this is going to sound crazy. Whenever you hear hard to borrow, I want you to think of my friend Carmine, okay? My friend Carmine has been in construction in the city for years. So he gets a call one day from a young couple that wanted him to build a wine cellar underneath the stairs with a glass door and the last name right, and then etched, you know, in the glass, and then underneath that, the year that the couple was married, etched into the glass. So Carmen's like, he's like, all right. He's like, well, I'll get back to you. So then the wife goes, well, that's the thing, we're having people over this weekend. So I need your price now. And Carmine goes, whoa, slow down. So you want me to put a temperature-controlled wine cellar under your stairs with a glass door, etch your name in the door? He goes, I have no idea how much this is going to cost you. If you want, I'll do the work, and then you know, I'll bill you for it later, because there's a time constraint here, right? So they're like, well, how do we know that you're going to be honest? And he says, well, if I'm not honest, you know, you could either live with the fact that you're not going to have it this weekend, or if I'm not honest, you're going to tell everybody else that I'm not, right? So it's within my interest to be honest with you, right? So I said, okay. And he did it. And he billed them later. So at hard to borrows, it's the same thing. You're asking the clearing firm to find you shares of something that they don't know where they are. So they have to find them. They have to find them and give them to you. They're not going to know how much it's going to be, so they're going to bill you later, right? So with ETC, they're going to make every effort to be reasonable. And the reason is because if the trading community word gets out that they're not reasonable, people are going to stop using ETC, right? So the hard to borrows that I've seen from ETC are reasonable. They are. There's a little history. Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations, right? It's not the benevolence of the butcher or the baker that brings you fresh goods. It's their interest in self-preservation, right? So when it comes to hard to borrow fees, you know, I want you to be aware that there's something that could potentially be there. If you're new to shorting, stay away from hard to borrows for right now, okay? Call me directly and I will walk you through the process even further offline.
How do you know?
You don't know. That's the thing, you don't know, because they don't know. They don't know how much work they're gonna have to put into it, right? And by the time they get done figuring it out, the play could be over.
Well, that's what I mean. If you go to short something,
You got to plan it before the market opens.
Yeah.
well, like I say, if it's a stock that I have no previous experience with, but I want to short it, is the trade rejected, or how do I know that there's a problem?
No. What I'm saying is your problem could be what you make versus what you thought you were going to make because of the hard to borrow fee, because you have that variable there.
Okay.
All right?
Gotcha.
So that's that, right? As far as software goes, we have two platforms for you to choose from. We've got DOS, which is direct access software, and then we've got Sterling, okay? So DOS is kind of like your run-of-the-mill, a lot of guys use it, you know, they're great. They've got the routes, they've got the rebates, which is nice, okay? Sterling is a little different. Sterling, which is our elite platform, they focus on the rebates that are available. So rebates are really, really important, especially in this line of work, all right? The routes that they have will pay you for order flow, right? What they call liquidity. So liquidity, it's a limit order, right? So if you're beneath the ask on a buy or above the bid on a sell, that's an order that adds liquidity to the market. So if you do that, and if you want to go, if you want to go to pricing,
Yep.
and then go to routing fees. There we go. And then scroll down, please. There we go. We're gonna go. Keep going. Oh, scroll up. I'm sorry. Go to ETC, all the way at the top. Yeah, so ETC. And then sort by add liquidity, please. There you go. So what this says is that if you put a limit order at ARCA or INET, they're going to pay you 20 mils a share for that order.
It's $2 per thousand.
Right? So if your fees are per share basis and you're at 40 mils a share, you just cut your commission in half by using limit orders. Now, I don't want to infringe upon what he's teaching you, but I feel like, you know, there's a time for market orders and there's a time not to use market orders. I think that's fair. And I think that for times when you're not using market orders, you should strongly consider this, okay? Now, it's ARCA and it's INET. I mean, it's not like there's not going to be enough order flow there. They're two of the biggest that are out there, right? So they pay you for that flow. See if you can't scroll down a little bit further.
Yeah, of course.
Now that's on the DOS platform. Sterling Trader Pro routes, right there. Go to add liquidity.
Oh, there's some big ones.
50 mils a share. So here's my question. Here it is, right? If somebody said to you, hey, we're gonna pay you to be a trader, all you have to do is fund your account, what would you say? Sure. I'm already doing it now, why would I not take your money? So here's my question. If you're at 40 mils a share for a trade fee, commission, and we're giving you 50 in liquidity, how much is it costing you to make that order? They're paying you. Congratulations, you just got your own reality show, right? Like, isn't that nice? All right, I'm getting paid for it. What I do when I'm bored, I will download a bunch of activity from people's accounts, and I'll take a look at it, and I'll give them a call, and I'll say, hey, I feel like you're leaving a little bit of money on the table here. Because look at this, limit, 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 but you used the smart route. Had you used SLIT from Sterling, you know, I mean, you're leaving a lot of money on the table here, right? So here we see a clear instance of a way for you to get paid for your activity, which is always nice, right? So those are the 4 things right there. Direct market access, which is huge. You know, you could use that to your advantage, cutting out the middleman. What is direct market access? Well, you buy the auto filter from Fran. That's what it is, right? That's all it is, cutting out the middle, okay? We talked about the commissions that are pretty low, okay? You know, again, should you use the routes, they're lower still, right? And again, in some instances, you could get paid for your order, what we call profit plus, right? And then the last point that we talked about was the locate services, right? Quantex and Velocity. If you guys have any questions about that or really anything that we talked about today, I feel like I'm a little approachable. Give me a call directly, shoot me an email. I gave some of you my cards last night. For those of you who have a pen, I'll give you my email right now if you want to write it down. It's D Hensley, that's D as in Delta, H-E-N as in Nancy, S as in Sam, L-E-Y, at stockusa.com. All right? If you want to give me a call, it's 800-874-3039, extension 409. Just remember 409 like the cleaner, you know, right? What does Don do? He keeps your account clean, right? Give me a call whenever you want, and I will walk you through the process that we have. So how am I different than the big guys that are charging you $695? You're not going to get a VP from TD Ameritrade to walk you through how to set your account up, okay? So I feel like I'm a little approachable in that regard, okay? There's other guys out there that are free, right? What did we talk about in the bar example? Free tastes funny, all right? Just remember that. Your fills are going to taste funny with the free guys, okay? And I don't think anybody here is using the free brokerage anyway, all right? No. So does anybody have any questions, concerns, anything like that? No?
Well, what's going on behind the scenes when ETC goes and locates carbon borrows? Like, what are they doing?
Okay.
Just curious.
So they got to find somebody that holds the shares, find out if they're willing to lend them.
Just like another client? Or...
I mean, it could be people, you know, it could be they have internal locate requests. Truth be told, clearing firm stuff isn't really my strong suit. It's a different, you know, part of the business. What I would assume is that they're finding people, right? So you want to short XYZ. It's hard to borrow. We have a request for somebody to short XYZ. I'm ETC. Canal has 100,000 shares of XYZ. Hey bud, what are you doing with those shares? You want to lend them out? Yes? All right. For what price? Okay. That's what they do. I'm really simplifying their job, I'm sure, but in a nutshell, that's what they do. Any other questions? Anyone else? No? Cool. Hey, look, I look forward to seeing you guys later. And like I said, any questions that you have about anything, don't hesitate to give me a call or an email. Do you have anything you want to add, bud?
Yeah, so what I was saying was, one of the reasons you want to go kind of direct access is that, like Ameritrade, E-Trade, all the big brokers, Schwab is like notorious for it. They sell your order before it's executed. They put it up for auction. So you ever see like an Ameritrade, you try to buy something on the ask, and like it always takes like a second before it's spinning in its wheels, and then like you're buying it on the ask, but you don't get filled all the way. Like you might get filled 100 shares. You're trying to buy 1,000. So then you raise your limit to say 20.95, and all of a sudden you get filled at 200 shares. Like, what the fuck? I see the shares there, and you're not getting filled. So then you just market order, and then the price will drop 10 cents after, and you're like, what the fuck? I was trying to buy it 10 cents cheaper, and it didn't work. Well, what they do is, and it's like it's out there now. They have to disclose it once they got exposed, but they essentially, as soon as you click a button, they put your order out for auction to whoever wants to trade against you, or follow, whatever. That order flow is getting sold to the highest bidder. Usually it's Citadel or somebody like that, or HFTs. So like when you go and you don't go direct access, essentially anytime you hit market order or do anything at that retail broker, they're gaming the system there a little bit. That's why the fills are always a little bit slow. I had a gentleman that worked with us named Chaim Bodek for a long time, and he was showing me kind of like the stuff that happened. He did a documentary on it called like Wall Street Code, because it was happening to him. He's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are my fills always like 1 penny off? Well, he had an HFT firm. He's trading millions of shares a day. All those 1 pennies really add up.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, even for myself, he's like, I'm like, that was 1 penny. Like, I did notice that. And he's like, well, think about it. How many shares a month do you trade? I'm like, I average 100,000 shares a day in volume, like back and forth all my trades. So he said, well, imagine like if you were getting screwed 1 penny on every share that you bought and sold, how much would it add up to? And I'm like, I don't know, like $10. And he's like, no, it's $1,000. And it adds up. So what is that over the course of a month or a year? Like if they really start to add up. And so that's the problem that happens like with a lot of retail brokers. Like Schwab is like notorious, and Ameritrade, like they just said the same thing, that their orders go to the venue that pays the highest.
Yeah, and typically those venues are the very same ones that we're giving you a way around.
Yeah, and so it gets really, really shady. So somebody like, if you ever feel like somebody's taking your stops, or like you're buying something and somebody's shorting you, and it's like, how can it be so personalized? Like it's like they're out to get me.
Yeah.
And it feels personalized, but then you're like, no, I mean, I'm a small person trading 100 shares. Like, how could that happen? That actually is happening.
They're
Like,
stealing.
And they disclose it.
They're stealing from you.
Yeah.
And what I think is ironic,
highest bidder. So you don't want to go Ameritrade, and you can Google it. So it'll show on their websites. It's called the 606 report or whatever. They have to disclose it, and so it's out there. So Ameritrade makes more money from selling order flow per quarter than they do on commissions. So your $5 commission that they charge you, they don't give a shit, because they know, like, if they sell the order flow to somebody and that person bets against you, knowing that retail traders lose, right? They're going to make that much more money just knocking your price around 10-15 cents at a time. And that's where things get really dicey. And so if you can find a broker that says, I'm not going to sell your trades to some hedge fund or HFT, you're right off the bat probably going to get really good fills, and you're going to save a couple pennies, which adds up in the long run. Commissions is really the least of your worries. Like whether you pay $3 or $4 or $5 or whatever, right? Like in the scheme of things, it doesn't matter if your order flow is getting filled. That's why Robinhood charges nothing. So Robinhood, yeah, they game the spread, but they also put in their report, they sell the order flow, right? And so everybody knows, like these people, you're just on your phone, you're like, oh, I'll buy 200 shares of this. You're not really paying attention to the price or anything like that, right? And you're basically saying, since it's a free trade, like, I don't have any rights. Like, go do what you want. I just want the free commission.
Yeah.
Which is fine if you're doing a long-term investment and you're like trying to buy some Google, like 10 shares of Google. But if you're day trading and every penny counts, then it really matters.
Absolutely. It's called monetizing the order flow is what we in the business call it. And what I think is funny about Robinhood is like the tale of Robin Hood. Like he robbed from the rich to feed the poor. And in many instances, they're doing the exact opposite with his name, right? I mean, they're not taken from hedge funds or high frequency traders. They're taken from, guys that have like a couple grand and that's it,
They're taken from the mom and pops who don't know to go to an actual direct access broker.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the stuff like SpeedTrader, like any of the stuff, like you find like there's a handful out there, but that's the one thing you want to look for, like anytime you're looking for a broker. So that's stuff that Don will help you with. They got all these different routes and stuff, and so like, you can start moving things around and really kind of take control of your trading, you know, on that aspect of things. And it'll add up. 1 or 2 pennies over the course of a year, you're talking tens of thousands.
Well, the direct access software that we have has hotkeys.
Yeah.
So I will give you the script so that you can program one of your hotkeys to be, you know, the limit order on the route that pays you the most money. So, you know what I mean? So there it is. You can use a smart router, or you could actually program the route into your hotkey. So, you know, control R, boom, 1,000 shares, you know, out, sell this route, you know, at limit, enter the limit, and that's it. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff. I know that you guys have a schedule, but I want to talk to all of you about it. Should you need me for anything, I'll be around. If you think of something after the weekend, just shoot me a call or an email. All right? Cool.
Cool.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, dude.
You got it.